Welcome back to the shop, ladies and gentlemen. So I've been making these ice cream scoops for people for Christmas, and my wife was like, well, why don't you make one for us? I was like, I never thought of that. So I was at the wood store the other day, and the guy's like, hey, you want some free dowels? Free dowels? Free wood? Hell yeah. He brought out a couple pieces. This one had a knot in it. He's like, oh, you don't want that? And I was like, oh yeah, I do want that. It's curly maple. You can't really tell, but man, it looks so freaking badass. So I had this epoxy left over from a carbon fiber project I did, and this flake left over from a valve cover I was gonna paint years ago. And I was thinking, that epoxy's kind of a waste just to throw out. So I got the dowel for free. I had extra epoxy, figured I'd mix them together, fill that up, and then we'd machine it and see how cool it looks. Hopefully it looks badass so I can give it to my wife and be like, yeah, see, ours is different. So stay tuned and I'll go through what I'm doing. This is a learning process for me because I've never epoxied knot before, so hopefully it works. It'd be a shame if it doesn't. So the first thing we've got to do is make sure when we pour our epoxy in, it doesn't come leaking out of these crevices on the other side. So what I'm going to do is use wax paper and masking tape. Just localize that area, that way when I pour the epoxy in, it doesn't leak out. Alright, so we've got a little trough so that if epoxy does leak out, it won't seep all the way out. At least we'll have enough to keep it full. As you notice, I put wax paper down and I got rubber gloves on. So this epoxy that I'm using is a 1-to-1, and I used 1-to-1 on my other project. You can't really tell, but they're about equal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour them into this tray that I had that I was going to throw away. Perfect timing. Pour them in there, and then honestly I'm not quite sure how much flake to put in. I don't even know how to find out. I'll just kind of mix it by ear, I guess. You're really not supposed to mix it this violently because it'll put air bubbles in it. But I'm a little worried that my epoxy might be bad, so I'd rather have bubbles and have it not mix well. So plus with that flake shit, I don't know if it'll even be a big deal. There goes nothing. So now we'll just pour a little bit in to see. Fuck. Hold on a sec. Pour in a little just to see what happens. Get it in all those crevices. I almost need it to set up a little bit. It's kind of runny. I hope some of these little spots in here. So I'm gonna let it set up for a little bit, and then I'll put a little more. I probably should have mixed it all in one go, but I'll let it set up just a hair, and then I'll throw some more in there. So there she's all epoxied up. I had so much epoxy that I took 2 more and I did something super secret. That'll be some bonus content if that works out. But I still have a ton of epoxy left, and it's leaking out like a mother chicken, so I don't know. Hopefully there's enough in there to make it round again.